The device will be vibrating along with your subconscious at a quantum level. It will help you a lot to be in tune with a purpose that you really want. Hello, greetings everyone. Now I am happy to be recording this video here where the Metayantra Center is going to be. It is already in the process of construction. At the end of the video, I leave you a little tour so you can get to know it. Now I am going to talk about the Metayantra coil. First of all, I have to explain, what is a coil, right? A coil is a passive element, which does not create energy by itself but interacts with it. Later we will explain it. It consists of an electrical conductor with two terminals. That is important to keep in mind. It is created with magnet wire or winding wire. And there are two types of coils, in general. The fixed coil, which as its name says the inductance value, which is how we are going to measure the coil, does not vary, or we cannot vary it. You cannot manipulate it. And the variables. Within the fixed ones there are two types of cores. The core is what is in the middle of the coil. The air core is achieved by winding the wire in a tube and then the tube is removed and then it is just air. And the coil with core, either ferromagnetic, magnetic, etc. Within these coils, whose core is not made of air, there are two more common ones, the iron ones. Iron is used to increase the inductance and generate a larger magnetic field. And the ferrite ones, which are more similar to the ones we use, because their geometry is very special to work in high-frequency circuits, and as filters, or transformers. Well, as with everything in electronics and in general in physics, there are factors or characteristics that define each phenomenon, which will help us to understand it better. In the case of the inductor, as it is technically known to the coil, there are several. One is the magnetic permeability, which refers to the sensitivity of the inductor to interact with magnetic fields. The higher the magnetic permeability, the more inductance, or better inductance will be in the inductor, or in the coil. Another one is the quality. This refers to the relationship between the ohmic value or resistance of the conductor element, and the inductance, which is the same as saying how good a conductor is a wire we use. That makes a better inductance. A better inductor gives more quality. That is why, not only us, but commercially in motors, in everything that uses inductors or coils, copper is used a lot, because within the commercial or easy to make, the best conductor is copper after silver. And gold is the third place in better conductivity. And this gives better quality to the coil. The wire that we use for the devices is known here in Latin America as magnet wire. In Europe and Asia it is known more as winding wire. Winding refers to making coils. It is a conductor with acrylic enamel, and also has polyamide insulation, similar to resin. There are two types in general, one round and one square, which have different properties. We normally use the round one, the polyamide, which is the polymer. The second layer of the wire is an excellent insulator, and it also makes a very good combination with the resin that we use with the device. Some characteristics of the wire are that it is easy to solder without the need to even remove the enamel. It is an excellent conductor. It resists high temperatures. It resists thermal shock. It can change temperatures drastically and does not lose its conductivity. It is very flexible, which makes it easier to make the coils. It resists humidity. It resists chemicals because of the coating it has. And then it is resistant when it comes to pouring the resin. And how does the coil work? First of all, we must understand that in any electrical conductor, in which a current circulates, a magnetic field is generated. And that magnetic field will have a direction based on the right-hand rule, which comes from Biot-Savart's law. Let's imagine that this is the wire through which a current is flowing in this direction. It will generate a magnetic field that will be doing this. It will be moving in this direction. If the current were to move this way, the magnetic field will turn this way. It would be doing the opposite direction. So the magnetic field is doing this around the wire. Now as it is a set of turns, or turns in the inductor, the magnetic field will start in the center of the inductor. In this case, this is our inductor. It will start in the center, and will close outside. It will be a donut, here in the whole inductor. Another important thing about the operation of the coil is that it opposes the sudden changes of current flowing in the wire. So this already speaks of a stabilization of the magnetic field and the current flowing in the device, so we also call them harmonizers. The fact that the coil opposes to the drastic changes of electric current that circulates on the wire generates a property that interests us. When the inductor, in this case, the device, is exposed to an electric or magnetic field, to an oscillating electromagnetic field, at the moment in which the energy or the current that is circulating on the wire is higher, the inductor conserves energy, or stores energy, in the form of magnetic field. When the current drops, it dissipates that energy in a magnetic field, then it will be stabilizing that energy. The current will be able to go up and down, but the magnetic field will be stable. It will be controlled. It will be storing or dissipating it. It will be harmonizing it. The inductance is going to be measured in henries. This is in honor of Joseph Henry, who was the one who defined it, discovered it. This quantity depends on the number of turns. Here there are 27 turns and 10 turns. In total, this coil has 270 cycles, and the type of core also affects the inductance. In this case, we are using a polymer, and it has minerals, quartz. All this is going to be related. The higher the number of turns, number of coils, length of the wire, which is therefore going to be related, the more inductance we are going to have in the device. Here it looks small, but really the wire is very long, and in strict terms, 1 Henry is going to be equivalent to the electromotive force that will generate a conductor, through which is circulating 1 ampere per second, and generates, or moves 1 volt. The coils are widely used in electrical transformers. I'll leave a link here, and another video, where I show how this power transmission works. Electrical transformers work by having 2 coils, one near the other, and one coil, if it has a current that is generating, is connected to a source. The current that is circulating through the wire is generating a magnetic field, and that magnetic field is generating a current in the other inductor, although they are not connected. The other inductor does not have to be connected to a source, so it shows that there is a transmission and an induction of energy from the surrounding magnetic field. For people who sometimes ask us, and we have received some criticism, that it does not work because the coil is not connected. It is a basic principle of electromagnetism. Magnetic induction. The magnetic field is a vector magnitude, which has a module, a direction, and a sense. It is always produced by an electric current. In every electric current there will always be a magnetic field. Another important law here is Ampere's law, which says that the circulation of the intensity of the magnetic field depends on, and is proportional to, the current circulating in the conductor. What I was telling you about the coil that generates an electric current thanks to an existing magnetic field, we know it thanks to Faraday. He is the one who reduces this and demonstrates it. Thanks to Ørsted and Ampere, Maxwell takes this knowledge and synthesizes it, unites it, in Maxwell's equations, where he relates that a magnetic field always generates an electric field, and an electric field always brings with it a magnetic field, and the magnetic field is going to be perpendicular, is going to be a wave like this, and the electric field is going to be a wave like this. They are always going to be perpendicular. And they always go hand in hand, talking about magnetic fields, variables. Also, thanks to these equations, we know that magnetic fields, or variable electromagnetic fields, propagate in space, or in the air at the speed of light, as electromagnetic radiations. Also, Maxwell, when discovering that the propagation is at the speed of light, considers that this is not a coincidence, but that the light is an electromagnetic wave, and that what we see is only a part of the electromagnetic spectrum of a whole range, practically infinite. And this comes to confirm Hertz, that thanks to him we have what we call frequencies measured in Hertz. He experimentally demonstrated that the propagation of electromagnetic radiation occurs in the air, or even in a vacuum, without the need of a medium for transport. For example, sound needs air to be transported, and electromagnetic waves do not need any medium. They can propagate in a vacuum. And he also demonstrated experimentally that magnetic waves are perpendicular to electrical waves, forming electromagnetic radiation. Here is a diagram of how it would look like. How is an electric current induced by a magnetic field generated by another coil? This occurs only in alternating electric currents, or variable magnetic fields, not with a continuous current, nor with a stable magnetic field as a magnet. We know this thanks to Faraday's law. Here I leave you in the mathematical relationship, where it is clearly seen that we need a variation in the magnetic field to generate an electromotive force. The electromotive force refers to that force that is being generated thanks to a current induced by a magnetic field, which moves charges. The movement of charges generates currents. That movement of charges, in the end, generates a potential difference, and that is why the EMF, the electromotive force, we will measure it in volts. What about all this in the device? That's what you may be wondering. There are many applications of this, from Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower, which proposed to transmit electrical power to the whole world wirelessly, and that is shown using the Tesla coil and with the Metayantra coil in the video that I leave you again over here, where I approach the device with an LED connected to the Metayantra coil and the LED lights up. This shows that there is a wireless power transmission, and this is given thanks to the magnetic field, and also shows that the Metayantra coil is a good inductor, which induces very well the electric current generated by any variable magnetic field. Also, another example are the wireless chargers, which are now widely used in the most modern phones, in which we do not need to connect the phone. We bring it close and it starts charging, and there is no contact. You can even put it close and it starts charging. What happens is that there is a coil in the charger that is generating a magnetic field, and in the phone there is a coil connected to the battery that induces that magnetic field. All this has to do with resonance, and you have to be a little bit careful, because we are not going to take any coil and put any other coil and any other battery and it will charge. This does not work like that. That is where all the calculations come in. It is not just putting random wire. In the example in the video I show with the Tesla coil and the Metayantra coil, the Tesla coil is generating high frequencies at very low current but very high voltage, and then you can see that this coil does resonate at high frequencies and it is absorbing. Let's say it is inducing. It is not absorbing, it is induction. You have to differentiate a little bit, and this is the purpose of this video. It is an induction of the high frequency variable magnetic field. In colloquial terms, we could say absorption, but it is not absorbing it and disappearing. It is inducing it, and it is converting it into an electric current, which in turn is generating a magnetic field. And everything is like this in physics. Every A causes B and B generates A. This coil, for example, I mentioned that it has 27 vortices or 27 turns, and each turn has 10 turns. This means that an electron, or an electric charge, that is in the device, is going to move making 270 cycles. That is what the cycles of the coils refer to. There we enter into more esoteric topics a little. It should be noted that esoteric does not refer to magic. The etymological definition of esotericism is the science of what the senses cannot see, and there many would say that it has been prostituted or changed the meaning of the word, because in itself, for example, quantum mechanics is esotericism. We cannot see it with our senses, however it is science, and esotericism is a science, and it is not magic. We must separate these perspectives a little, without taking away the value of what can be seen as magic, but always seeing esotericism as a scientific practice, and the etymology says so. We should differentiate some things from others. Then, here what it is going to do is that this coil is going to have a resonance of 270 cycles. I have to thank Ivan for this, because he gave me the tip. We were talking recently and the subject came up, and if it fits me that they are resonances, a little bit complicated, because the official science, so to speak, is perhaps a little bit lost in the official science, so to speak. For example, I see a relationship between esotericism, I would call it mysticism, and science that confuses frequency with vibration. And there's one of Tesla's most famous phrases where he differentiates between frequency and vibration. He does not tell us how, but he says, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy. We know what energy is in scientific terms. Frequency, we know what frequency is in scientific terms. And vibration, the problem is that we tend to join vibration with frequency, define them the same and know. Here there is a very clear difference that he puts, that is that you separate those two terms to understand the secrets of the universe. That is where the theoretical definitions fail. So we have a coil with 270 resonance. They are not 270 vibrations per second. That is the thing, that here there can be 10 hertz. We can connect the coil and put 10 hertz, and the coil will be with a magnetic field of 10 hertz, but each charge will make a path. an oscillation of 270 cycles. Each time the electron moves, it generates a field line, so when it completes a cycle, an electron that is circulating, there will be 270 repetitions of the toroid, a charge, an electron that is circulating. There will be 270 repetitions of the toroid. Later I will explain the toroid. Then there will be 270 toroids always present. There will be some with 21 points and 5 turns. Those will have 105 toroids always present. And that, for me, is the resonance with what is outside, with what is with you. And that is where the interesting topics begin. Synthesizing a little bit, we have this device. The center of the inductor is this. Although it looks open, this is the core. And also here, you see the core inside. So, as we saw at the beginning, the magnetic field, it's going to start here. It's going to close here, same here. So making this figure, this is the beginning, and this is the end of the toroid. In the definition, what it does is this circle. But this is in each turn, so it's going to be a donut, what we know as a toroid. And this is all going to be a toroid. What does that represent? Well, if you notice, as I put my fingers, the center of the magnetic field, and the magnetic field lines are going to pass through the quartz. In the other video, where I explain the inverse piezoelectric effect, I explain how that magnetic field activates that property, and starts to vibrate the quartz. It is thanks to the coil, that we have that vibration in the quartz. If we did not have a coil, if we did not have an ordered circulating current, a well-created magnetic field, the quartz simply would not vibrate. It would be absorbing cosmic rays. Perhaps it would have certain properties, but in scientific terms, the quartz would be inactive. The coil is the one that activates and potentiates the vibration of the quartz, and the quartz will vibrate according to its characteristics, according to its nature, according to its contamination, everything it represents. The molecular geometry of the quartz will define its vibration. Using different quartz will modify the vibration of the device. Remember that in another video, I also explained that the resin, being a polymer, vibrates together with the quartz. What I was telling you about the turns, the field is like this. There are 270 turns here. Each turn will make 10 cycles. 10 cycles as there are 27. There will be 270 toroids growing nearby, and well, that will resonate with the space-time, with your body, with your nervous system, etc. Already thinking in esoteric matters, and I do not want to join it with mysticism, esoteric in terms of science. It is that resonance, or that vibration of the device, which is going to have a union with your intention. What is your intention? For me, and for Stephen Hawking, who demonstrated it in an experiment. Here below I leave you the link where we have a video of Hawking's experiment. He demonstrated that your subconscious makes the decisions before you are consciously making them. And in terms, maybe a little bit of my belief, and of many other scientists, the subconscious is the one that is creating your reality, precisely because your subconscious is making the decisions for you. It is not that you do not have free will. Hawking does mention it this way. He says that you do not have free will. It is not so much so, because your subconscious is still yours, not someone else's. So you are making your decisions, and you are taking your life path, but you are doing it subconsciously. You are not doing it consciously. Having a vibration, with giving an intention to the device, saying I want this to help me such and such. You are programming your subconscious, and activating that power of creation of yours, of something that you are looking for. Entering into the mystical question, of the quartz, of its intention, of its purpose, and all that. You are giving power to the device, really the power to be in you, and you don't need anything else. I agree, but it is a tool, and besides the device, when it is vibrating together with your subconscious, at a quantum level, it will help you a lot to be in tune and being dimensionally vibrating, because it is vibrating in a purpose that you really want. Internally, sometimes we make conscious decisions that bring us bad experiences, but that bad experience is leading us to a very good experience. The problem is when consciously we do not accept that bad experience, that your subconscious is doing it. You chose to go through it because your subconscious already knows what you really want. There also enters the flow for me, and in another video, I think the next one, if you like, leave me a comment down here. If you would like me to talk a little more about my theory, it is not mine. It is a compilation among them, Hawking about your unconscious, about how reality is created, about how it can help you get get where you want to go, making the subconscious a little bit conscious. That is the key to neuro-linguistic program. What is the importance of the toroid? There is a lot of talk about it, but because we would not want it to be a plate, right? For example, a square, a deodorant? Why the toroid? A phrase says that everything in life spins. Everything, not only in life, in the universe spins, in our planet, it is spinning, and they are creating a Coriolis effect in the water. For example, if you grab a flower, it has a figure. It is always created. All this with the golden ratio, the galaxies. Our galaxy, the electrons are also spinning at the subatomic level. Everything spins. All the energy spins. I think that it was an initial spin when the universe was created, taking into account the Big Bang Theory, that when everything exploded, it exploded with a spin, and with that pattern, and all the cells, everything has golden ratio. Therefore, an electromagnetic toroid would be in tune, in harmony with all creation. That is why it is so important in esotericism and electromagnetism, in energetic matters, the most stable and efficient geometries, and even the photons, the smallest particle that composes reality in this universe revolves. And it is in this geometry, inside and in other terms, in the toroid we find practically all the patterns of sacred geometry. If we include the Platonic solids, the elements of the periodic table that we know, that according to chemistry, we are not going to find more, but they are all that exist in the universe. I still have my doubts about that. And also the principle of uniqueness, duality, the principle of self-sustainability, and the three main mathematical numbers, which are phi, pi, and Euler, are in that toroid. They are related. In ancient cultures such as India, in Hinduism, and I am fascinated by all that, as there is always a scientific relationship with philosophical beliefs, because for them the sound that was generated when the universe was created, when according to the theory, it exploded, has a relationship with the toroid. That well-pronounced sound has a relationship, very, very, linked to the toroid, and well, what is needed for the coil to work? First, it has to have two ends. You can't see them here. The wire, it starts here to wind and turns around and ends at the same point. And there are the two ends. They are not joined. They are not soldered. It has to be the magnet wire. The type of wire to be used has to be perfectly calculated. The wire gauge that is being used, the number of turns that will be used, the number of toroids that will be generated in the device, and the correct resonance with the quartz, with the copper plate, in other terms, will depend precisely on that. With the intention that you want to give it, that is another topic, that if you want me to go into it, although it is not official science, we can go into it a little bit. Comment below if you would like to talk a little more about it. The important thing is that it is the magnet wire, that the number of turns, by the way it has to be, the correct winding is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then one that follows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. We always try to make them even, so that there is a harmony with the generation. The odd is going to generate a certain disharmony, but with certain devices if we have used odd numbers, but it has to do with the reasons we are looking for. We are preparing a device with the Chinese magic number, and that will have your number, your personal vibration of birth, according to that tradition. That for me, the Chinese being one of the civilizations, or the oldest known civilization, have things that sometimes we do not understand, but they work. They have very important knowledge, very strong, and in fact Ivan is the one who proposes that design, but we are working, we will bring it out, and we are working on it. There we use odd numbers, but almost all of them are even. You have to calculate how much wire you are going to use, the amount of wire depending on the caliber. You have to calculate the number of turns depending on what we want to cause, where we want the center of the magnetic field to reach, the opening of the same. There are many mathematical factors to consider, so when I have been asked how to make them, it is a little complicated to do a course on this. We have gone a little deeper into this for engineering, and any questions you have, write it down here in the comments box. This is a small test where it is shown that the lead can be illuminated, energized by magnetic induction, via magnetic induction, by the Metayantra coil, thanks to an electromagnetic field generated by the Tesla coil. When I get closer to the Tesla coil, the lead lights up more, and when I move away it turns off. It depends on the range of the Tesla coil. And as I promised, I am going to show you a little bit of what the Metayantra Center is. This is what we have built so far. It is in the fraccionamiento called Villa Zamilco. It is very close to Amilco Querétaro. People who live in Querétaro, Mexico City, maybe Pachuca Hidalgo. It is very close. The intention of this center is to use it for retreats, meditations, all kinds of events that can be done here where it is useful to be away from the city. And also if someone is interested in renting it as a cabin for them to come here to rest, well, go ahead. It is open for whoever wants to use it. This is the idea. Well, this is going to be the entrance. We are going to put a wind chime, the idea, with a transparent roof. And here it will be in the living room. The living room is not yet built. There will be a temescal there, the fire there at the back, and the living room closed to be comfortable, quiet. This way it would be seen from inside the center. Today it is outside and it will have 3 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, and bedrooms, apart so that all the people can stay comfortably. This is one of the complete bathrooms. The 6 bathrooms are complete. The first bedroom are some onyx sinks that I brought from Tecali. If you are interested in onyx things, I am going to leave you a link where you can get them. They are sent to everyone. The kitchen where we intend to prepare everything that is used for use as a cabin, or for an event, prepare the food. And this is a bar that will lead to the living room. I show you my office today. Let's go upstairs. The view here is impressive. The subdivision is very nice. It is very quiet. For that kind of things, the Thule, here you would see the living room down and there would be bedrooms here on the sides. This is another bedroom that will have a private bathroom. If you want to come to rest, it is also very appropriate. These 2 bathrooms are intended for people who stay in bedrooms. Another bathroom and bedroom with this nice view that I particularly love this view. In a couple of months, I think we can be using it as a place to rest, so whoever wants to use it can send us a message by WhatsApp. And really, it is highly recommended to come here for a few days. Do not forget to follow us, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Thank you for watching this video and we hope to see you soon.